Hey.
Cheers, baby.
Cheers.
This is not Whiskey Ginger podcast, but it's just two guys getting into whiskey who aren't as famous podcast. What do you think?
I like these glasses. You can't see it, but it's the cube ice, or not the cube, the sphere.
Yeah, the sphere
ice cube.
Yeah, Sam got that for me. She got like a whole set. She got these glasses. She got, I forget what she got. It was some sort of present. She got the glasses. She got the sphere ice, and then she got me a bottle of whiskey. And I'm like, I think I might be a whiskey guy now.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, I do watch Santino's podcast, and I see him, Whiskey Ginger, and I'm like, oh, it does look nice.
I know.
Like, but it's, I definitely need a lot of ice in mine. What is that called? Neat or not?
I think
Dirty?
neat is no ice, and then on the rocks is ice.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense. I am on the rocks, 100%.
Chock full of rocks.
Yeah, chock full of rocks. I need it wet and slippery because it's just too strong for me.
I feel that. This is probably the nicest whiskey I've had in a while.
Let's go.
Just from open mics.
Yeah.
I'm like institutionalized. I'm always drinking just like the worst, cheapest whiskey.
Do you go whiskey at open mics?
Yeah.
So do you only drink whiskey?
Yeah, for the most part.
Nice.
My big call is the double well whiskey on the rocks.
Ooh, I'll have to try that.
That's always what I say.
How did you, when did you become a whiskey guy? Were you always like that?
No, actually, I used to drink like a divorcee. I just used to have like Diet Coke and vodka.
Ooh, I'm a DC guy as a diabetic. I love a good diet soda.
Me too. I actually got into Diet Coke because my friend's diabetic.
Let's
like,
go.
Up, yeah.
Diabetes brothers.
Yes.
All right.
He had like the insulin pump and everything.
Strapped up right now,
Hey.
homie. Come on, dog.
Is it registered?
It's registered, baby. Woo. It's registered. You got to register these firearms.
You got it.
Sometimes it's fun to just pretend like I'm in the Secret Service and I can just go just flash it and just go, he's coming around the corner,
Yeah.
because people don't know what it is.
That would be sick to protect the president, but you can't eat cake.
Yeah. And that's, that's tough because I'm sure Donnie T for those years had a lot of cake around.
Right. Well, I guess you can eat cake because you could be low and then you need some.
Yeah, I just got to get myself real low and then I can eat the cake.
Yeah.
But, you can't always have your cake.
And bleed it too.
Yeah, I was trying to think of something different too. And I couldn't think of it. Yeah, diabetes, man. It'll get you. It'll get you. But so you've been a whiskey guy for a while?
Yeah, because I went on, it was one of the first dates with my lady. And I think I could tell she silently judged me.
Really?
For my drink.
For
think
drinking whiskey, or you weren't drinking?
The Diet Coke and vodka.
Gotcha.
So then I think she said something like a man drinks like whiskey on the rocks.
Oh.
And then I just ordered it immediately. And I was like, this feels good.
Yeah. You're like, this puts hair on my chest. You're like,
Yeah.
I already have a lot, but it puts more on.
Yeah. So something about it. You do feel more distinguished, more grown up.
Yeah, I do. I definitely do. I think I'm gonna keep it going, but I think I gotta find. Sorry about that. It's so unprofessional.
Oh, you're good.
I gotta find the right kind. This is pretty good. I like it so far. Just with a lot of ice, and I could see myself becoming a whiskey guy.
Yeah.
Because I grew up, just disgusting light beers. Do that for a long, long time. Then college, you start just ripping shots of disgusting Vlad. And just like anything, just fucking paint thinner, tasting vodka. And then you start blacking out, making horrible decisions. You're like, all right, I can't do that anymore. Then you graduate, you start doing the IPAs, all that stuff. Then I'm getting fat, and I'm like, I got to go. Whiskey, maybe.
Yeah. I feel you, though. I used
cycle.
to drink, I was big on Burnett's.
Oh, yeah. Everybody. In high school, college, you live off of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would just take it to the face and... Yeah,
The flavored kind.
yeah, the flavored kind.
Yeah, mix it with the Gatorades, sneak into a Blink-182 concert.
Yes. But when I first moved to Philly, I would start having more people over, and people would think I was insane because I would just have vodka and Mio. I would just squirt Mio in it.
Yeah, that's fun.
And I was like, do you guys want some of this?
Bad boy cruise.
I was like, this is fucking great.
Yeah.
And we were like, no, what are you doing?
They're like, no, you're insane.
This is, insane.
Nice, man. That's
but I
crazy.
just like it straight from the tap. I don't want any funny business.
Yeah,
Just
I like
give
that.
it to me.
I respect that you order whiskey at open mics too, because
Yes.
I think people will look at you and they're like, he's classy,
Right.
classy guy,
But
classy Cruz. That's what people call you behind your back. That's what I call you, behind your back.
that's what they're calling me.
Classy
behind my back.
Cruz, Terry Crews, Rob Cruz, whatever.
I like that you brought up Terry Crews. He's the only celebrity with the last name Crews that spells it the same as me.
I was gonna say Tom Cruise, but different spelling.
Right.
There we go.
He's CRUISE.
There's got to be another CREWS, huh? Nobody?
Not that I've seen. It's either CRUISE or CRUZ.
Yeah, right. Ted Cruz.
Mm-hmm.
He's CRUZ.
Yep.
And your dad. Oh man, I'm getting hit, and I'm not a political guy, but everybody's texting me today like, "Did you vote?" I'm like, "Stop it."
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm like, "No, I didn't."
Yeah, my mom was real big on it.
Yeah, same. That's primarily who was texting me about it.
Yeah.
And my mom has no idea. Well, I shouldn't, in case she watches this podcast. But she's like, I'm like, Mom, come on. We don't know what we're talking about.
I know.
We're not a very political family.
Well, I grew up in a very liberal household.
Yeah.
And then when I got older, I got red pilled on the internet.
Really?
Yeah. And then my favorite thing ever was just truly upsetting my parents with like red pill ideology.
Yeah.
And then I came back like more moderate. But there was
so
a second where I was just like, "You're not taking my fucking guns, dude."
That's so
For no
funny.
reason.
Because usually it's the opposite. I feel like usually, kids grow up in a Republican household and then they get real liberal and their parents are like, "What the fuck?" But you had the opposite. You had some hipster parents and you started going the opposite way just to grind their gears a little bit.
Yeah, I think I got
respect that.
annoyed that I never heard the other side.
That's always the case. I mean,
Yeah.
you either just do exactly what your parents say or you rebel against them and go the opposite way,
Yeah.
which I very much do all the time.
How do you rage against the machine?
I rage against the machine just by being so unpolitical, because a lot of times in my family, that's all they want to talk about. And I'm so sick of politics being just driven down my throat
Yeah.
that I'm like, I refuse to vote. I don't want to talk about it. And I just want to be happy. I don't want to talk politics,
Yeah.
Everybody wants to talk politics. And I'm like, why? Dude, life is short. I don't like arguing with people. I just want to have a good time. Whatever you believe, have fun with it. I don't care. It affects me none, because you're not going to change people's opinions.
Right.
So it's like, go ahead. Do what you're going to do. I'll do what I'm going to do.
Yeah.
And that bothers people in my family.
It is wild how into politics people are now.
That has been driving me crazy. It's become like the popular thing. Like when we grew up, like I didn't know a politician's name at all. I mean, like outside of like the president, but like the way that young kids are coming up and like really being into the intricacies of the political world, I'm like, that's so lame, dude.
Yeah.
Like I was never into that stuff.
Yeah, there's people in middle school like, release the emails.
Yeah, yeah. There's like kids giving speeches at the at like the debates and stuff. And
Yeah.
I just it was not a world that I grew up in of caring about politics. I was playing cartoons and Pokemon, and I didn't give a shit about politics.
I was very much the same way. And then when I got red pilled, it was just like, it felt more like a sport.
Red pill, that's hilarious, dude.
I fucking love that term. That Republicans are way better at branding
Yeah.
than liberals are. 100%.
Yeah, because they make their side seem fun.
Yeah.
They're like, we don't care about anything. We're just out here shooting our guns and firing them off.
Yeah.
And
And I think too, they really got me with the free speech thing. I think that's what drew me into it.
Yeah.
Just from the love of comedy.
Yeah.
Like I felt like that issue spoke to me the most at the time.
Yeah. And it's interesting because you see both sides take on each other's ideologies. Like that used to be the liberal thing, is like free speech and like a lot of the things that liberals used to stand for, of being very open-minded and progressive. It seems like that's kind of I wouldn't say that shifting to the other side, because I wouldn't necessarily say that all Republicans are like that, but you know what I mean, where it's like a lot of liberals are very much like, you can't say certain things and blah, 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 where I'm like, you're supposed to be the ones that are open-minded and can say whatever you want. And again, not that Republicans are necessarily like that too. They're just like that on the opposite end. But they've always been like that. I think they're supposed to be the close-minded ones, right?
Yeah.
Again,
but more like traditional, like more spooked.
Yeah.
By like,
yeah,
I don't know, offensive stuff.
Yeah.
But
like that was like when I grew up, the Republicans were the tight-ass Christians. You don't fucking say that. And now I feel like that's not the Christian thing, but that's on the other side. It's interesting. I feel like every however many years it must kind of just switch back and forth.
Yeah, I think for me, I'm a contrarian. I really will. I think it comes from growing up with overprotective parents.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to go against the grain.
Yeah.
So whatever side is most annoying to me, like internally, I'm just like, I'm running away.
Yeah. See, God, it's so fun. I am the complete opposite. Like, I'll just agree with anybody because I just want to avoid conflict.
Right.
Yeah, I'm just like, oh yeah, no, I totally agree. Like, whoever I'm talking to, I'll just go with it.
I will do that too.
Not so much anymore. Not in like a serious way, but you know what I mean? Where I'll just like, if it's with people that I'm not super close with, I like completely just try to agree with whatever's going on so that I don't have to get into a conflict of any kind. I'm so afraid of it.
Sometimes it is easier. Like I'll see people just arguing on Facebook. And I
Facebook.
I just want to tell them all they're fucking retards.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would feel really good.
Oh yeah, you can do
it. It's just not worth it.
Yeah, because then you'll be stuck in a Facebook argument with people that you have no idea who they are for days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'll see like comics, like local comics, like arguing, and I'm like, you guys are really like spending a lot of time arguing about like open mic issues.
That's the same way that I feel about politics, where it's like, even when I say politics, it's not just Democrat, Republican stuff that I don't like talking about, but I see the same thing within open mic comedy where you see people arguing about, whatever. And I'm like, the politics of the open mic scene, I'm like, I even hate that. I'm like, I see people arguing and I'm like, what are you doing? Like that, it's only hurting you. It's not getting you anywhere. You're just wasting time being mad at people on whatever side that you're on. I can't stand that shit. I'm like, just keep it moving. Yeah. Everybody do what you're going to do. Stop wasting time arguing.
Yeah.
That's why, I try to stay out of it too.
Yeah. We all pursue the arts, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
Who cares? We're all sissies.
Yeah. Yeah.
We're all sissies.
Yeah. There's no tough guys in stand up,
Yeah.
There's, some people that try to act like they are. Nobody thinks that.
Well, one thing I definitely will do when I'm around tough people, just immediately just assume the position, just show my ass.
Yeah.
They're like, yo,
just get on all fours.
Pretend. Yeah, I'm not gonna pretend like I'm too hard or anything.
Yeah.
Because
I am hard, but I'm not too hard.
Yeah. Knock on wood. Knock on wood.
Knock on wood. Yeah. I'm rock solid right now. That's why I wear sweats. So you can see how fully torqued I am.
Whoop.
Yeah. There we go.
Yes.
Yeah, you get on all fours, you just submit. That's what my dog does. If a bigger dog comes over to him, he just rolls on his stomach and he just goes, you do whatever you please.
You can rub it, you can punch it.
Yeah. And I think you learn a lot from nature, seeing stuff like that.
I agree.
Yeah.
There's just a natural hierarchy to this life.
Mm-hmm. So how did you, I know this is a very basic question, but how did you get involved in stand-up comedy? Because that's how we met, obviously.
Yeah. Before comedy, I was doing music full time.
My buddy, before, maybe as we were just becoming friends, maybe I posted something, maybe we're at like the same show together or something. My buddy who used to be in a band goes, yo, I know that kid. He used to be in, I forget the name of your old band. He was like, he was in a very good band.
Oh, yeah.
I forget what the name of it is, but he like knew who you were from your music.
He's from around here?
Yeah, from South Jersey.
Yeah,
I used to do the
band might have been
with
Hold
him.
Your Own then.
Yes, that's what he said. Yeah, Hold Your Own.
Oh,
yeah.
That's cool.
He was in a band.
What's his name?
Stretch. Well, his name's Connor O'Brien.
Connor O'Brien.
And he goes by Stretch. We've been friends since high school. And I used to do the podcast with him. This one, Wizards Intern, and then I kicked him off because he was too flaky. Love you, Stretch, but yeah, he used to be in this band called You're Killing Me, Smalls.
Yes.
He knew your band.
We used to play the Berlin VFW all the time.
No way.
Back in the day, yeah.
So how long did you do that for? Since like grade school?
Yeah, man. I've been playing music since I was like 7, and then pursued it seriously for like from like 17 to like 24.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And then was on the road for a few years. That was fun.
No way.
Yeah, dude.
Where did you usually play? Like on the road?
It was
Is it
really
similar
all
to
over
comedy where it's just like, random gig after random gig on the Northeast?
Yeah, well, when I was in that band Hold Your Own, like that was when I first started touring, and that was all like DIY, getting booked.
Yeah.
We would just like send out a million emails to mostly like cities on the East Coast.
Yeah, similar to comedy.
Yeah, and then I ended up joining a band called Reckless Serenade. That was from upstate New York, and they already had like an agent and everything.
Fuck yeah.
Yeah, dude.
Let's go. Reckless Serenade.
Yes.
It sounds like when I used to try to talk to girls in high school.
Yes.
Yeah, it's reckless, and I would try to serenade them.
Yes.
Didn't work. Yeah.
That was when you were a Wizards intern.
That's right. I'm still trying to get back to that Wizards intern status, but go on.
Yes. And yeah, man, that was cool. I played guitar in that band, and we were just all over the US, and we did some cool stuff. We did Warped Tour 2016.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
Holy shit. So you guys you made some really good, decent progress, it sounds like.
Yeah.
You were touring, you're in Warped Tour.
Yeah, like we were like we got to the point where we were like around cool shit all the time, but we didn't have like a huge fan base or anything.
Sure.
We were just like openers for cool people.
Right.
And
just like comedy. That's like exactly where we are in comedy, dude.
Yeah.
God.
And then eventually I always loved stand-up. Like I always loved it.
Yeah.
But it did seem like a magic trick. I was like, how the fuck does someone do that?
Yeah.
And we were in like Reckless Serenade broke up, and I was like, I'm just gonna try it. And I did it very loosely for a year. It was fucking horrible. It was miserable. What?
Stand up or oh really? Okay.
Yeah. And then I had another opportunity to like go back on the road and do music again.
Yeah.
So I did that.
Nice.
And then that band broke up, and then I just went to the Brigada to see Theo Vaughn with my girlfriend at the time.
No way, dude. Yeah. He's like one of my favorites right now.
He's the fucking best. I was just listening to him on the way here. He was on Impulsive, Logan Paul's podcast.
Oh, was it? Yeah, I guess he's promoting a special.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so when I saw that show, I just see at the Borgata Cody Wright come out on stage. He was opening for him.
That was the first time, like before you even really started, because I remember Cody opening for him.
I met him once when I did it loosely.
Gotcha.
And he was just like so nice to me.
Yeah.
And I always remembered it.
Who, Cody?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then when I saw him, I like hit him up. I'm like, yo, this is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
And then,
but at that point, you weren't
talking.
like fully into the way that you are now. Like you were just maybe like you had dabbled in it a little bit, but then that before you saw Cody open for Theo.
Yes.
Gotcha.
Yeah. And we started talking, and I just wanted to start a podcast. I told Cody, I was like, yo, I want to start a podcast with a comic.
Yeah.
And he's like, that's cool, because I want to start a podcast with someone who's not a comic.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
And then I met him at the Flying W when we were like starting the podcast, because he has the open mic there.
Yeah.
And he just signed me up.
Yeah.
And I did it. And he was super encouraging about it. I'm like, I'm just going to keep doing it.
Yeah.
And then I haven't stopped doing it since then. That's
was like
awesome,
dude.
2 years ago.
God, man, that's crazy.
Yeah.
It seems like you've been around for a long time. I'm surprised that you've only been doing it like 2-ish years.
Yeah.
Made some great progress. That's awesome.
Thanks, man.
Yeah.
No, it definitely helped. Starting with knowing Cody, we did the podcast.
Yeah.
And the podcast is such a cool way to just get to like network with people.
Totally.
It's so much better than like going to open mics.
Yeah.
And you just kind of have sporadic conversations here and there.
Yep.
So I think that helped. And, Cody gave me some shots pretty early on that I didn't deserve, but he's a nice guy.
No, none of us do, but you got to take them. That's how you get the other, that's how you get better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, I was getting like 10-minute sets and I had like 3 minutes.
Yeah.
So I had to write like a lot. So like really early on, I was writing my ass off and constantly like throwing stuff away. And I think that kind of like sped up the process for me a little bit.
Yeah. That's great, man. I mean, that's when you're thrown in the fire like that in the beginning. I mean, that really is the best thing for you because, like you said, it forces you to write. You gotta like quickly learn to get comfortable up there, and then that's really it. Like you just have to start doing it, and that's the fastest way to get better. Is just you. I mean, obviously, writing all those things, especially writing. You have to write, to get good, but getting up and doing it. When people are like I've had a couple friends before who are like, I've written a ton of stuff and I want to try it, and I'm like, that's amazing that you've written stuff. You have to just do it though, like
right.
And then once you do it, you keep writing, that stuff. But once you do it, it just snowballs from there. You meet people, right. And you just like figure it out. It's such a strange thing to figure out.
For sure,
yeah.
It's like better to be thrown into a situation that's more difficult than you are good.
Yeah.
Because even if like you fall short of rising to that occasion, you still improve a lot more than you would.
Yeah. I've always been like that too, where before I'm ready for things, like I'll dive in head first to stuff before I know what the hell I'm doing, and I have to just fail and figure it out that way versus like I can't spend too much time planning something. Like with the podcast, even though like obviously it's still a work in progress, I'm like I just have to start it and then I'll figure it out from there. Like once I start doing episodes and stuff like that, if I spend 6 months trying to figure out how to launch it, I'll just never get to it.
Yes.
I have to just fucking do it. And so I'll just like a lot of times it bites me in the ass because I'll just buy all this equipment or something, and I'm like, fuck, I didn't even need half of this stuff. But it's the only way I force myself to do stuff is like I just have to start doing it and then just try to figure it out from there.
I totally feel that.
Yeah.
I'm writing this show called Attention Horse.
Oh, I love that shit that you put out on Instagram and Facebook and all that stuff.
Yeah, man. I'm excited because we're gonna like do it in person now, and like we're trying to
no way
like do it differently and like more fun and stuff like that.
So I mean, it's very unique.
Thanks,
and
man.
It's very different, which is it's the best because it's unlike anything else.
Oh, it's really fun to write for because with stand up. Unless you're like a true one-liner comic,
yeah.
For the most part, everything has to be cohesive.
Yeah,
and like you have to like plan it out, and there's like an arc to it.
Yeah,
you think about order a lot, but Attention Horse is fun because you're just saying jokes in a vacuum.
Yeah,
nothing has to make sense with each other.
Yeah,
if something's funny, you can make it work if you wanted to.
Yeah, what's I was gonna say, like you are off stage, you're one of the most normal guys I've met in comedy. But stuff like that you'll do is like very goofy. It's like very different from what your persona is off stage, which I love.
Yeah.
Do you ever get that?
Yeah. I think the biggest thing is the disparity in how I talk, like tonally.
Yeah. Just the cadence.
The cadence.
Yeah.
Like, hey, Brandon, how are you?
Yeah. But I think
like,
that's what makes it unique. That's what I really like about it.
Yeah. It's fun for me because that dude does exist inside of me.
Mm-hmm.
And like just certain moments I let him play.
Yeah. That's the fun of it too. Like when you get up on stage, like we're all playing like a version of ourselves, and some might be more pronounced than others. So when you get up there and you just start feeling that way and you lean into it, like it's really fun to watch.
Yeah, it's fun to do.
Yeah.
And but with like the execution of things. So I put together like a little writing team. It's me, Rusty Wright, Sam Patchett, and James Moss.
Love it.
And I like calling them with like ideas of like this overarching theme I want to do, and like these big ideas, and like
you're
I get
good at
really
that. You're
high
good
on the
at
idea.
bouncing ideas off of people because like that's a great thing to do. I think.
Thanks, man. But I feel like it can be a form of procrastination.
Yeah, I
getting
get that.
drunk on the idea of what it could be.
Yeah,
it feels so good.
Yeah. I get that too. I'll get a spark of something and I'll start running with it and I get so ahead of myself and I'm like, oh God, am I you're just constantly torn because you're like, am I dreaming too big or like, is that a good thing? Because it just is going to take that right idea for you, for that to take off, So
Right.
it's tough. It's tough to figure out because you're like, you don't want to ever stop dreaming like that, because then you're not going to, you're not going to run with anything with that sort of passion behind it. But you got to reel yourself in at times too. So it's like this weird balance where you're like, oh God, am I getting ahead of myself?
Right.
Yeah.
John Mayer had a talk at Berkeley, and he said something that I really connected to. He said, there's no feeling like writing the verse and a chorus of a song and then getting dinner.
Yeah.
That's the fucking best.
Just like meaning getting the satisfaction of like, I put in this work and then I can just kind of let it sit and enjoy like the just the knowledge that, look, I just made something great, and then letting it sit for a little bit.
Yeah, it's almost like sitting in like the romanticized version of what might be.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I get that. Like, even with like an idea for a joke or an idea for a show, I love putting it together a little bit and then, yeah, letting it sit for a little bit and just being like, oh man, this could be something.
Yeah, this is going to be so good.
But that also, it does hurt me sometimes, because I'll do that with 7 different things and I'm like, fuck, where do I put my attention?
Yeah.
But who knows? We're still early on. I think that the more things that we try, the closer that we will be to figuring it out.
Yeah.
Who knows? Or we'll just be sitting here talking about what could have been for many years to come.
True.
But what else am I going to be doing?
I think for me, I'm at a point right now where I'm just trying to like figure out what I like.
Yeah.
Like
same.
Because I love stand-up and I always want to be doing stand-up.
Yeah.
But I found myself kind of getting to the point where I'm like, okay, I always want to write comedy. I always want to do that. I always want to have that outlet. I just like being creative.
Me too.
And I never fell less in love with the art of stand-up, but I have fallen less in love with the lifestyle of stand-up.
Totally.
And I'm like,
beats you up, man.
Like 15 to 20 years from now, can I see myself in like a green room?
Right.
You know what I mean? And I've been doing that for years.
Yeah.
Like, is that for me?
I get worried about that too, because like, especially if you don't get like, I love stand-up when it's in that ideal environment. Like that'll never get old. If you are, to me, if I'm booked at a club and there's a great setup, there's a great crowd, you get on stage, you have like that shit, I never want to stop doing it, and it never gets old. But like you said, like the lifestyle where I don't want to be at open mics every single night. I don't want to be doing a hell VFW gig, 15 years from now. Like, I understand the importance of all of those things, but yeah, that lifestyle, I want to be able to enjoy my life at some point. And not that I don't now, but when you're building and you're trying to get good at stand-up, you have to do all these things that you don't really want to do, but it's going to be good at helping you get comfortable. But I'm like, yeah, like, I don't want to be doing that 15 years from now. If I'm 10 years in, I'm still doing open mics, I'm going to fucking quit.
True.
Like, not like ever doing an open mic. Like, you still see comics who have made it that'll come back to open mics. I don't mean that, but just like only doing that and not getting booked on like those real fun gigs that you have. It just wouldn't be worth it to me, because that's what I want to get to. I want to be doing the fun gigs, being realistic.
Yeah. And I think I'm trying to figure out why I want to do it.
Yeah.
And make sure it's like coming from like a pure creative place.
Yeah.
I think there's a lot of people, and including myself in that, more so like starting off in music, where the intent isn't as pure as they think, where it's like, it's kind of filling a void of something, some sort of external validation. Because the weird thing with stand-up is you're not doing your job without external validation.
Right.
In the form of laughs. So you got to like turn that off when you get off stage. And a lot of people don't turn that off. And there's usually a reason for that.
Yeah.
So I've been trying recently to like really get my life outside of comedy to a place that I genuinely like.
Yeah.
So like emotionally, I don't feel like I need the like validation of stand up, just to prove to myself like, all right, when all things are equal in terms of like being good, I still really want to do comedy.
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Totally. I feel like that's interesting. When you start in stand-up, it starts out really fun. And then you start getting really aggressive with it because you want to get better. And then after a little while, you start to forget, oh, I got into this because it was supposed to be fun. And I'm making it not fun because I'm stressing myself out about things. And I feel like you're chasing getting back to that place of like that pure-hearted fun of why you wanted to get into it. Or if that is the reason that why you wanted to get into it. I mean, that's definitely why I did. But also the biggest reason being I want stand-up comedy to be my full-time job, that I make a reasonable, like that's always been my goal, to have a job that I love to do be my full-time thing is like that's the dream for me. Even if I'm not making much money, if I'm making a teacher salary from comedy, I'm like, that's fucking incredible. Like just to not have to do a 9 to 5, and because stand-up gives me the freedom, like, to do what I want to do. That's what I really like. Waking up, having my day to myself, and then doing stand-up at night, which is what I would be doing anyways.
Right.
Yeah.
No, I feel that for sure, man. And there really is no better of a life that I can imagine than being creative for a living. I think kind of that independence, that, like, autonomy that you're talking about is super important to me. I think I want the fuel to be that I just love laughing. Yeah. And I love creating stuff.
Me too.
And if that's why I'm doing it, then no one could ever take that away from me. Like people can take opportunities away from me, right? But they can never like stop me from like creating stuff and like laughing. Yeah. So
and enjoying just the process of making something.
Right. Yeah. So as long as like that's what I get out of it, and not like people's respect or like
which
that kind of thing.
That's one of my biggest problems. I get like, as I've gotten into stand-up, I catch myself getting caught up in all that stuff of like wanting people's respect and like, wanting validation for with certain things I can't control, where I'm like, why am I so obsessed with that? And I have to like kick myself sometimes and be like, dude, like just worry about yourself.
Dude, trust me, I get it. I get caught up in it too. It's hard not to, especially when you're surrounded by it so often. That becomes your life,
God, dude, you check social media every day and you see what everybody else is doing, and immediately you're just like, God, I'm not doing enough. Everybody else is doing this, and I have to be like, dude, that has nothing to do with you. You like, but it's when you see it every day, it really starts to fucking get at you. Yeah.
I've been really into Rubin.
I've never listened to him.
So he's like a legendary music producer. He started like Def Jam Records.
Okay.
And
I think I have heard the name. I was like, where do I know that from?
Yeah, so many like iconic albums he like produced and stuff. And he's like almost like a monk. He's like crazy. But he's so about like the art first, and the way he like produces artists, it's like he's very much about like getting them into like a very unfiltered place to just like express themselves fully. Yeah. And that's when like the best shit comes out.
Interesting.
And a lot of his process is closing off that external world and just letting that person be kind of like naked in a way. Yeah. And there's like a huge power to that. Yeah. I think people miss the mark when they think like power is like how much you get booked, or like, I don't know, what kind of opportunities you get, like status. Yes. I think they're wrong with that. I think like the real power is if you put out undeniably great shit and no one could take that away from you, and you don't give a fuck what anyone thinks. Yeah. Because the tides are always going to change in terms of people's opinions, what the climate is.
God, that's such a great point.
Like I'm concerned about my Applebee's joke where I talk about Black Lives Matter, because that feels like old news. You know what I mean? Like shit's always changing. Like,
oh right, just like in terms of like the shelf life of that bit.
Right. Yeah. And like that was such a huge deal. Yeah. And like it's no one talks about it really anymore.
Right. Right.
So all this stuff that like happens in culture and in the news, it's so fucking fickle that if you just keep that one thing consistent, you could just let shit pass. Yeah. And yeah, that's the real power, baby.
That's such a good point, though, man. Like that is such a good point. Where if you And also when you see yourself create some of those things, one thing that really gives me satisfaction that you see is when you get to look back, and even like, let's say you retire that joke eventually about the Applebee's and stuff, because, you know, time passes and it's not as relevant anymore, but it's still cool to look back and be like, look what I made, you know, that at that point in time, you know, I made this thing and it was great, and you have it now, and like you get it on tape or whatever you do with it. Like, that's why I like making like sketches and stuff like that, because I have that to look back on. Or like, I love the shit that you do with the music, dude, with like
Thanks,
the just the goofy raps and stuff like that. It's so fucking funny, and it's different, and it's probably just so much fun to make that. And then you have it and you're like, oh shit, like look at this crazy thing I put together.
Right.
Yeah.
No, it's so fun, dude. And just chase the fun.
Yeah.
Like, because then, like, why else do it, man?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know. And I think every step of the way, too, just kind of the people in my life who, like, it all comes from a place of love. They've been, like, concerned because I make these huge life changes. Like, but when I stopped, like, pursuing music and started doing stand-up comedy, like, everyone that was close to me was like, what the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Like, it felt really abrupt to everyone else.
Yeah.
But I was just like, I'm just not having fun with music anymore.
Well, the only thing I would say about that is you did music for a while. Like that, right. It's not that abrupt. And if you did comedy for like 6 months, you were on to a new thing, then maybe I would be like, oh yeah, like that's a little bit concerning. But like, you've been doing comedy for a while now. You did music for a long time. Like, right. There's nothing wrong, I think, with like it seems as though you put a shit ton of effort into music, and you're doing the same thing with comedy. And after a while, if you realize, like you said, you're not having fun with it anymore, it's okay to not torture yourself for the rest of your life because you're like, I can't be a quitter. It's like, no, you can put that to rest. Dude, I had heard Will Ferrell say this one time where in some interview, his dad was, I think, a musician. And as Will was starting to get into comedy, and I think he was, you know, he still was working his day job and like hadn't gotten on SNL and hadn't figured it out yet. And his dad told him, he was like, because I think the person asked him, was your dad supportive? And he was like, yeah, he was always supportive. And in fact, the one thing that he told me that was really powerful was, he said, just so you know, it's okay to quit. And he's like, he didn't say it in like a pessimistic way. He was just saying, like, if you find yourself doing this for a long time and you're not enjoying it anymore and you don't want to do it anymore, you don't have to force yourself to, like, you know, basically ruin your life over it because you're like, you know, afraid to give it up.
Right.
Because I think he saw his dad do that with music, and he sort of like never quite gave it up. And he didn't really find his success, and then I think he stopped enjoying it for a while. But he was like, for some reason it was almost comforting that it made me so afraid of not failing anymore, because he was like, if I fail, who gives a shit? I could just quit.
Yeah.
And he was like, and you know, and happens to be one of the funniest guys who's ever lived. But I thought that was so interesting.
True. Yeah. It really depends on like what motivates you, I think, because I know people where, when it's all on the line, like no plan B, no fucking escape, like that brings the best out of them.
Yeah.
But it brings the worst out of other people. Yeah. And I think comedy podcasts kind of ruined comedy a little bit.
Yeah.
Because I think a lot of up and coming comics heard, you know, these more established comics talk about how they made it in comedy.
Yeah.
And you do hear that narrative a lot where it's just like, you know, right when you make like a plan B or like an exit, you know, you're kind of fucked, you know, like, and get up every single night and stuff like that. And you see people take on that mentality, and there is truth to that mentality.
Yeah.
But you got to take into consideration all the factors that come with it. Like most of those comics were doing that when they moved to like a big market like New York, where there was like a lot of spots to like go up, like endless open mics.
And when there was like that was the opportunity to make it now, where like, you know, I think about that all the time too, because of the longevity of it, where it's like you could do that, but if you quit your job today and you're just going up and you're doing unpaid spots every single night and you're grinding it out, which I think is a good thing to get good at stand up. However, you have to also be able to get by and pay your bills and be able to stay in the game in order to get good at it. You know what I mean? I think a lot of people, they hear that and they're like, you know, I can't have a plan B and I got to just do comedy full time. And you're like, yeah, but like eventually unemployment's going to run out and you have to be able to get to those gigs and have a car, whatever you got to do. And
true. Yeah. And also the overhead to be a comic back then was so much different.
Right.
Because now you got to kind of be a jack of all trades where you can afford like the camera, the light, the mics, the stuff like that.
And
like
I have heard some comics say, I think I heard Jesselnick say this, which, you know, wisely, but he was like, when I hear people ask me like about comedy today of like, what would you do? He's like, I don't tell them anything because he's like, I don't know. He's like, I don't even know if I'd get into stand up today if I was that age coming up, because he's like, it's just different now. And like a lot of people say that, but he's like, if I were to tell you that's the best way to do it, you get up every single night. He's like, things have changed. Like that might not be the right answer. I might be leading you astray where it's like, because you see that you see some people build a career on TikTok or just the social media thing or a podcast or whatever it is. Like comedy's changing, which I think is one of the reasons why it's good and bad. Not to sound like we're complaining, because you can't complain in comedy, but it's like obviously it's amazing that we have all the tools at our all the tools at our dispense to be able to make our own shit. Yeah. But it is a little bit overwhelming to be like, what the fuck do I spend my time? Where do I put, you know, my energy to make it? Because there's so many different, there's so many podcasts out there. Yeah, it's like, what do I pick, dude? Yeah. It's just so many options, and you're like, do I invest a lot of my time into making a great podcast? Do I just focus on being the best stand-up that I can be? Do I try to focus my energy on making a viral video? Like, so, you know, I'm trying. You know, we're both trying a lot of different things, which I think is good. But it's a little bit overwhelming because you're like, God, there's so many, you know, you see people making it in all these different ways where you're like, I don't know what the right pathway is. Yeah. I guess you just got to figure it out, but it's crazy.
I think for me so far, it's just doing whatever is just giving you energy from thinking about it.
Totally.
Like, yeah, if like stand up is giving me like a ton of energy, like just with like the ideas, and I'm like chomping at the bit to do stand up, I'll do that. Yeah. If I want to like make one of those stupid rap videos, I'll like do that. Yeah. And then you kind of find over time I don't want to project, but for me, like I found over time, the more I've just done that, the more like it's brought me closer to what I think I'm actually supposed to do.
I think that's figuring out your voice. Like I think I'm learning that a little bit too, of like just trying to do things that I enjoy. And I think it's helping me find, God, this is getting really sentimental, but it's like finding myself a little bit more, like on stage and stuff like that. Because there is something to that. Like you watch early videos of yourself on stage and you're just doing like weird impressions of people that you enjoyed, you know, that you watch and stand up. And then you start, you know, over time, you start to kind of figure out the way that you talk, the way that you deliver a joke and stuff like that. And I think a lot of that is just from doing it and then just doing other things too. And you figure out just what, you know, amuses you. Yeah. Yeah. It's an interesting thing. And like, obviously we're still figuring it out and still evolving with that. But I'm learning the same thing of doing different stuff that I just enjoy doing, that just gives me energy and gets me closer to like what I want to do. Right. Yeah.
And that's fucking dope.
What do you think it is for you? Like, what do you think is some of your favorite things to create?
I really like doing stuff that kind of utilizes every single thing that I like to do. Like that's why I'm super excited about Attention Horse. Yeah. Because I love writing jokes. I love video editing. Yeah. And I love doing like music shit too. Yeah. And I'm excited because, you know, sometimes with the limitations, it sucks, but it pushes you closer to something that's more unique and like creative. So since I don't really have the funds to like license music for stuff, I'm just going to write the music for it. Yeah. And like,
how do you do that shit, by the way? Like, you put together, like, some legit... Like, you're a legit good rapper, dude. Thanks. And it cracks me up, dude. Like, they're funny, dude. They are very funny. Like, dude, do you have one that you could pull up? Like, the one that you posted on maybe it was Instagram or whatever, where you got the coat over your face.
There's a.
And maybe I'll just like as we pull it up, like in editing, I'll put it up in the video or something because it's so good, dude.
There was two different ones.
You like pulled my penis to a rocket. I don't know what it was.
Oh yeah. All right, so I'll pull that one up.
It's good.
Bukkake on my face with the gun in my pocket. Safety off, take me from soft to a rocket. Down the fuck, I don't give a damn if you're trans. Got a milk crate full of dicks in my vans. I can tie my shoes, no hands, goddamn. I can live a month in a small trash can. I can move in, be a new stepdad. Won't help at school cause I still can't add. Maybe I'm Jesus, I got myself to believe in. I nail my dick to the ceiling until I lose all my feelings. I'm not playing.
Did I do bad? Did I do bad?
Beat it. My butt is screaming. My butt is screaming. LL Cool J, beat it. My butt is screaming. My butt is screaming. LL Cool J. My piss is yellow. Your boob milk's jello. When you see mom, tell her I said hello. Hey, global woman, flip that pillow. Hey, about to ink Finding Nemo. Hey, every time I call a T, you know I got the weight. Every time I shit, I lose the feeling in my legs. Ain't no other way. Hey. Town to town, I'm on the bouncy bounce. I'm going in and out and piss sitting down. I get real with it, get real with it. Dwayne Johnson, beat it. My butt is screaming. My butt is screaming. LL Cool J, beat it. My butt is screaming. My butt is screaming. LL Cool J. Bukkake on my face with the gun in my pocket. Safety off, take me from soft to a rocket. Down the fuck, I don't give a damn if you're trans. Got a milk crate full of dicks in my vans.
Yeah. Oh, dude, it's so good, man. Like,
Thanks.
and you made that beat?
That one was a YouTube beat, but I recorded the vocals and stuff like that from home.
because you could still, like, if it's a beat, like, as long as you're doing, like, your own cover over it, it's not, like, you're not going to get flagged on that on YouTube or anything like that.
Well, with beats, it's like different.
Because you could take
things.
like you can pull together beats, right, and like do your own basically like cover, even though it's not a cover because you're doing your own lyrics, right?
Yeah, I think there is like a free use thing with that. I think with like these YouTube beats, usually I have in the bio like free for nonprofit use.
Gotcha.
So like I can't put it on Spotify or anything like that, but if I'm just putting it out there for people to
Enjoy,
just watch,
right?
And
so
also
good.
too, I have samples that aren't cleared on it, like like I use like an Urkel sample.
Oh, that's right. Yeah.
I don't reach out to Family Matters.
But dude, like you put a funny hook on it like that. The lyrics are great. Like the beat is like that is something I would play in the car and be like cracking up to.
No, it's really fun to do. And but when I stopped touring a lot, I just learned how to like produce from home and stuff. And
it's awesome.
And
you think you would ever bring that to like a live thing, like a live stage, like stand up / little showcase thing with that sort of situation?
Maybe. I think part of the appeal of stand up for me is that it's so different from music.
Yeah.
But like doing those rap videos is like a fun way to like scratch the itch of both.
Yeah. I could see you coming out as like a character where you come out with your coat over your face or something like that, with a different name, and you do like a funny rap stand-up thing like that.
That would be fun.
Yeah, or like just a funny, satirical rap.
I would love just to see like a sea of people just singing like, my butt is screaming.
God, dude, that would be a hit, dude. I mean, it was a hit. It was a hit in my book.
Thanks, dude. But yeah, like something like Attention Horse where I'm gonna like utilize all of it.
Yeah.
Sounds really fun to me right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I love doing things that like, for me it's like stand up. Obviously, I love doing in like my one of my favorite things to do. Like I love joke writing, and ideally for me, like being in a club environment where I can say what I want, like whether it's at Joel's or at Helium or like, but in a good environment for stand up, there's nothing more fun. Like I love that, the way that that's set up when it's an ideal stand up setup. I fucking love that. But then when I'm trying to get myself out of that, I love doing sketches. I love writing my own sketches. And
Your sketches are great.
Thank you, man. I'm working on one right now that I'm going to film on the 27th with my buddy Sean Roberts. He did the movie that I showed you, the Night They Knocked, the horror movie.
Oh, dude, I was actually just with him because I did Joe White's podcast.
Oh, no way.
Yeah.
So he, obviously he really knows what he's doing behind the camera and how to direct and stuff. So he helped me with one of my first sketches that I produced. I can't even remember when it was. It was probably before the pandemic. And I've been meaning to try to do another one, but it's just, when you only got so many guys, it's basically just me and Sean, and we got to produce it, get the actors, write it. Sean's directing it. So it's just a lot, and it's taken us a little while, but I'm excited about this one that we're doing because it's just fun to like do something different. I like trying to learn how to act and just do funny in video form. I love watching. I love making videos. Like I like the process of writing out an idea for that and seeing it visually come to fruition. Like I love that.
The first sketch I saw from you was you were like a pastor.
Oh, the priest one, yeah.
Yeah, that one's fucking great.
Yeah,
I might run have a question to ask.
Yeah, sure.
Probably off mic, but
oh, sure.
With that character.
Yeah.
I want to ask.
All right,
something
cool.
with
We'll do it off mic.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about running it back. I don't know if that's what you were, but
yeah. Maybe a little collab with
Yeah.
the attention horse and that character. That's what I'm thinking.
I'm interested.
Oh, hell yeah.
Father Donegan can come out anytime
Yes.
to play because that was my biggest hit, dude. Like the other ones that I've done have gotten like some views. That one, which is not a lot for most people, but for me, it was the most views I ever got. We put it on Facebook and like we put it elsewhere, but on Facebook it got like over 20,000 views.
Yeah.
And we just like with that one we made like in like an hour. We just threw it together quick. I had this loose concept and it turned out like I feel like that's how it goes. Like you just when you do something when you least expect it, that turns out to be like one of the best things. And that's why I like just making shit lately and throwing it at the wall because you never know what's gonna stick. And for some reason, people really enjoyed that one.
Yeah.
And I think that's probably how we got introduced. Like,
I think so, yeah.
We became friends on Instagram and stuff.
Yeah, and then Danny Madden, like Foster, like all those dudes. Fucking Donegan's the guy.
Danny and Ryan I started with, and it's just been interesting because we've all kind of gone in slightly different pathways, but then when we all meet back up again, it's just it's a great time. It's a hell of a time.
I love both those guys.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're it's cool because they're both Philly guys, but they feel like South Jersey comics.
Yeah.
I do like I like repping the South Jersey scene.
I'm trying to like because I've never known how to identify because I've split time because when I started comedy, I was living in Philly and I started in Philly, but then I was I really started kind of doing Joel's gigs, which were out in the suburbs, so I wasn't like in the Philly scene as much. Then I dipped into the Philly scene. Then I moved back home to South Jersey. Then I moved to Jersey City during the pandemic and was like kind of in New York. And then I moved back to South Jersey. So I've always kind of split time between Philly, New Jersey, and New York. And I've never known how to identify myself as a comic when people are like, oh, like, where did you start comedy? I'm like, I don't know, technically Philly, but like,
I feel like that helps though.
But now I'm like, I'm from South Jersey. I should be loud and proud about it. South Jersey, baby.
Yes. Well, what I liked about the South Jersey scene is, of course, there's like cliques with any like social kind of situation.
Yeah.
But with South Jersey, it's just like a good place to learn.
Yeah.
Stand up. You know what I mean? Because there's not as many like
people are supportive in the comedy scene in South Jersey for sure.
Yeah, and. If you bomb at high note, there's not like a huge consequence to that.
Yeah.
Like,
I saw it's coming back, by the way.
Yes. Yeah, I'm going to be there.
Does that start back up tomorrow?
Is it tomorrow?
We should go if it is.
What?
Because I don't know if it is tomorrow, but I saw that it's coming back at some point soon. Maybe not tomorrow. But I think it used to be
on there.
It used to be on Wednesdays, right?
Yeah.
Let's go.
But yeah, like even now, like if like the Raven rules, like I
Yeah.
do
I gotta
rag and
come
deer
do
tag every Monday there.
Rag
But
and deer tag.
yeah, gotta have you on that.
That's one of those where I'm like, that looks like a lot of fun because it looks like a great hang.
Yeah, and it's super free, kind of what you're saying, like just that environment to just go for it. But yeah, on Thursdays, like it's a fucking awesome mic, but like I'm in my head about it. Like if I bomb too hard here, it might like affect something. Like maybe I won't get booked somewhere or something like that. You know what I mean? Like
at Raven.
Yeah, or like sometimes other Philly mics. Like
I
I'm
see
putting
what
on my
you're-
game face more.
I
when I'm
know.
there.
I know that's tough because I'll say this: I always bomb at Raven. Like I don't think I've ever not bombed there for whatever reason. But so then sometimes I'll go in and I'll do jokes that I think are gonna work, and I'll still bomb. But then I'm not working on new stuff in the hopes of like, I don't want to look bad. But then, I'm not, I'm not working anything out. And I should be trying, if I'm going to a mic and stuff like that. But I get it. It's like this tough thing because you want to get booked, and a lot of times that's how you get booked when people see you.
Right.
But then you also want to work on your stuff and get better at the same time.
Right. And there's for sure mics in Philly where you can do that a little more.
I've kind of stopped caring at mics and stuff because I'm just like, I don't know. I've been around long enough where I'm just like, if I bomb, I just don't. I don't give a shit. Like,
Yeah.
I feel good enough about myself where I'm like, I know it's gonna happen, and I really just want to work on new stuff. And then on the weekend gigs, I'll throw in one or two of those new bits and try to work it out that way. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's tough sometimes when you're walking up and it's a hot crowd. You're like, fuck, I don't want to bomb here.
I know.
You don't want to waste this hot crowd.
I know.
But it's like, yeah, it's tough.
Yeah, it is like a balance, like you're saying, like, kind of learning the way of filtering in new bits, like sandwiching it in with shit.
Yeah.
But then sometimes it does feel weird when you're seeing the same comics all the time and you are just performing to them.
Yeah.
And then you kind of feel like if you're doing like the same material too much, it feels like you're doing like a weird play for your friends.
That's the toughest part for me because I'm like, yeah, you start to feel like you're acting.
Yeah.
And you're like, I know that you guys have seen this before, and I know that you see me like putting this fake energy into it, and like that's the magic of comedy when like nobody has ever seen you before and they have no idea, and you make everything seem like it's off the cuff, even though you got your delivery and your jokes down pat. But then when you're doing it to people that have seen you a million times before, they're like, I know every fucking trick this guy's about to do, this fucking trickster.
Yeah, you feel kind of dirty.
Yeah, this fucking trick-or-treater.
That was one thing I learned from the Philly's Funniest thing, because I went to so many of them just to support my other friends.
Yeah.
And the winner of the year before, Jamie Wolf, he would, do a lot of the same jokes like every time, because of course he would. Mm-hmm. But it like kind of opened my eyes to like one of the skills you should be building in stand-up is the ability to tell it like it's the first time every time.
Yes. Yeah.
Which is
it's
really
hard.
important.
But yeah, it's so important, like to be able to pull out that enthusiasm and have that for the crowd so that they're just as excited as you are, and like to get back to like when you write a new joke and you have that enthusiasm saying it for the first time, if you can get back to that energy, because they can sniff it out when you're not feeling it, the audience sniffs it out immediately. Mm-hmm. But if you can kind of work yourself up to do that, it helps you so much.
It really does.
Yeah. It's so hard to do though. Like when you're not in it and you're not feeling it and you just feel like, everybody's, that messes you up sometimes when because you get in your own head about that. I do it all the time.
Yeah.
Especially if it's half and half, or you got half an audience, but there's comics in the batch watching. You're like, I feel like such a fraud.
I know.
Or you know what I hate, dude? I hate when people that I know that are not comics, like friends and family, come to see me. And I'm like, I want to do new material because I know you guys have seen some of this before. But I'm like, do you understand how hard it is to build an act, which is what I'm working on? And I'm trying to build like a longer set and a longer act and eventually get up to an hour. But it's tough
hard
to
with the friends and family.
It's tough to explain to people. You're like, I'm working on something, and like you can't to do a new 15 minutes. Like that's crazy. Like when you're just starting out. Like to be like, I'm not gonna be able to crush a brand new 15 minutes I haven't tried before. As much as I would love you guys to see new stuff that I'm working on, I can't fucking do it.
I've fallen into that when like friends and family have like come to see me again. I start doing crowd work too much. Yeah. Just to like give them something new.
I know. And I hate doing crowd work. I mean, like I'll do it if I have to, but I really try to steer away from it if I can. But there's certain environments where you are forced to have to do it.
Right.
Yeah,
you're called upon.
Yeah.
For the situation
where you're at a show and nobody's paying attention. You got to round them all up to even just get them to focus for a second. And if you just I'm like, if I just go into my fucking quinoa bit right now, people are gonna fucking hate me.
Yeah.
You're like, I have to.
Why is this dude just talking to us?
It's so hard.
Yeah. Well, the Durag and the Deer Tag helped me with that a lot.
Yeah. So you guys do the podcast on Mondays, and then you do riff at the Raven. Is that Tuesdays?
Same night. So
cool.
All on Monday we do the live podcast followed by roast battle, then riff at the Raven.
Nice.
Just back to back to back.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it's fun.
What time do you guys get out of there?
Late. Like usually like 11:30, 12ish.
Oh, okay. Oh shit.
But
not as bad as I thought. Like in terms of the time.
It's fun though because each segment of that show on Monday, it's all moments that live and die.
Yeah.
That night.
Yeah. Like you have to be in the room to really enjoy it.
Yeah, like you'll never have that roast battle again. You'll never have that podcast again. You'll never have that riff again.
Yeah.
And I really like that. And it's like a really fun place to like grow comedically.
Yeah, and just really experiment, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's a great experimental
room. Like it's such a good stand-up room, and it's a cool setup for comedy.
Yeah, and it's just like a dark vibe in there.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, like a lot of the stuff that goes on in there, you can't really do anywhere else.
Yeah.
Like, or, you have to have the context built in of like what people are about to see.
Have you ever seen Bar Rescue?
Yes.
All the time. I'm like, yo, I just want Taffer to do one sweep of this place.
Yeah. Like, burn it to the ground. Burn it to the ground.
There's shit on the floors. The comedians are horrible. Yeah. Just like freak out.
What the fuck are you guys doing in here? Clean it up.
I was on an episode of Bar Rescue.
What?
Yeah. Dude.
How have we just gotten into this? You were on an episode of Bar Rescue?
You just see my elbow, but
just
I
got
was
the
there.
weenus in there.
Yeah, just my weenus.
What bar were you at?
It was called Lickety Split back in the day. It was on
Philly?
South Street. It was
okay.
Like, pretty close to Jim's, and
Just the elbow?
yeah.
You couldn't slip any other body part in there?
Nah, dude, weenus only. That was all I signed the rights to.
Oh, man.
But
claim to fame.
yes,
That's going to be your next credit. You guys may have seen his elbow on Bar Rescue.
yeah.
Nice. That's sick.
What
episode
but it was funny. I forget the name of it.
Or do you remember what bar they were doing? I guess it was Lickety Split.
Yeah, and then they changed it to
Lickety Split. Is that a
alleged?
Is that a lesbian bar? Lickety Split.
Yes.
Let's go.
What high five?
Fuck yeah.
But yeah, they changed it to like alleged pizza and bar and grill or something.
Gotcha.
Because the owner was a detective or something, like alleged.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Yeah. All of like his bar names are always like so. I don't know. There's like it feels like a corporate representation of what
they think
would
is
feel
cool.
authentic. Yeah.
You're like, I could smell you from a mile away, buddy.
Yeah.
The kids are gonna love it.
Yeah, the locals love this
It's
stuff.
like the mafia, allegedly. It's hilarious.
I've read in a document that this is a highly Italian area.
Man.
So we filled your margaritas with gabagool. Fucking.
Come on down to Alleged Pizza, where allegedly we got pizza for half off. Then you get there and he's like, it's actually full price. And you're like, I said allegedly.
I said alleged.
Nice, man. You got anything coming up soon?
Let's see.
So what's today?
When's this coming out?
Today's Tuesday. I'll probably put this out tomorrow.
Oh, cool. So
7:30.
on November 7th, I'll be at Broadway Comedy Club.
Let's go.
Yes. And
I love Rick there.
I never met Rick.
He's the only guy I've met so far, but he's been cool to me so far.
Yeah. Do you know Anthony Pascal?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
He's like from here, but he's been like booking it and stuff like that.
Nice.
And there's a Drop Tent Productions show coming up. I forget the date of that off the top of my head, but just follow me at Rob Cruz Comedy.
Rob Cruz
on
Comedy.
Instagram.
Cool, man. And then so the Do-Rag and the Deer Tag roast battle, all that's on Monday.
Yes.
And then do you guys, is somebody else run Raven on Thursdays?
So Drew is a part of it on Thursdays as well,
Gotcha.
but Sonia runs it. She's like the headmaster.
Gotcha.
Yes.
She's the Dumbledore of Raven.
Yes.
Gotcha.
And then also What Up with Rob and Cody, baby.
That's right. Are you guys got any episodes that you guys got coming up?
We're working it out, but
Nice.
stay tuned. And then
An Attention Horse.
Attention Horse. We'll probably start shooting that in like a few months, but
Nice.
look out.
Cool, man. Well, thanks for doing this, man.
Thanks, man. Thanks for having me, baby.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. Cheers.
Cheers.
And till next time.